When I talk about real heroes, I'm not talking about politicians. Not at all. And recently, Barack Obama has come forward. Now, he's come out of the dark. I don't know. He's like Gloria Stefan, coming out of the dark. That's what's happening right now. And now he has things to say. And apparently, Barack Obama is snapping at the Democratic Party. And when you see what I show you, it's obvious who he's really talking about. He's talking about Democrat leadership. Now, there are already people online calling Barack Obama a hero because he's come out of the shadows and he's standing up to everybody. They're already saying this. But I just want to remind you again, politicians are not heroes. So let's see what Barack Obama is getting into now. Obama's blunt message for Democrats: toughen up. Toughen up. Toughen up. It's Barack Obama. Never goes away. All the other politicians, they have their presidency, they retire, they fade into the background. We don't see or hear from them again unless there is a funeral of a former president that we've had, or if there is like some Democratic convention or GOP convention, etc. Other than that, they are retired. Not Barack Obama. So let me show you what Barack Obama is saying now. Check this out. Okie dokie. President Barack Obama issued a call to action for Democrats at a private fundraiser in New Jersey on Friday evening, urging those frustrated by the state of the country under Trump, stand up for the things that you think are right. Okay, so he's at a fundraiser event. That's part of the problem. The money in politics. That's a big part of the problem, because what did we say before? You don't get a Donald Trump as president if you actually deliver for the working class. That didn't happen under Barack Obama's presidency. It was under Barack Obama's presidency that Black wealth actually tanked. Look at the chart. Look at the numbers, because he chose to bail out Wall Street instead of bailing out the American people who lost their homes. When Barack Obama made that decision, again, your home is a part of your net worth, a big part of your net worth. You're talking about many Black elders who lost their net worth. And it wasn't just Black people, but those banks predominantly targeted elderly Black people. So it was Barack Obama's economic policies that led us to get a Donald Trump. People have to understand that. Let's go on a little bit more here. He goes on to say, I think it's going to require a little bit less navel gazing and a little less whining and being in fetal positions. And it's going to require Democrats to just toughen up. That's what Barack Obama said. You don't tell me you're a Democrat, but you kind of disappointed right now. So you're not doing anything. No, now is exactly the time that you get in there and do something. Don't say that you care deeply about free speech and then you're quiet. No, you stand up for free speech when it's hard. When somebody says something that you don't like, but you still say, you know what? That person has the right to speak. What's needed now is courage. That is coming from Barack Obama. That is what he's saying right now. I don't know how great my impression was, but this is how I hear him in my head when he's speaking. That's what he said. Stand up. Let's talk about standing up real quick and then we'll get to the clip. Did Barack Obama, did he do the right thing and stand up when the NBA players decided to go on strike to try to hit the ownership, hit him in the wallet? Did he do the right thing? Nope. Barack Obama stepped in to end the strike. Did Barack Obama stand up and do the right thing when we had Occupy Wall Street? When we were saying we are the 99%? Nope. Barack Obama came in to crush that noise. Did Barack Obama do the right thing when he went to Flint, Michigan and told all those people in the room that the water wasn't dirty and he pretended to drink the water? No, he didn't. And did Barack Obama stand up and do the right thing when these predatory lenders stole people's homes? No, he bailed out Wall Street instead of those people. Now, I bring up '08 many times, and I bring this up because I honestly still don't believe that the American economy, and when we talk about net worth, I just don't believe that the American economy has ever really fully recovered from the '08 housing crisis. And for those of you who may be too young to remember, that was a tough time. That was a really, really tough time. So I just don't buy it. And now here you come out of the shadows to tell all the Democrats, and we know who you're really talking about to show you, to tell the Democrat leadership that they need to basically toughen up. When we all know that Barack Obama preached a really good game when he was running for president, but the moment that he got in, we saw very quickly that Barack Obama was just like all the others who came before him, and that he capitulated to corporations, the military industrial complex, and don't forget all those kids that he killed in Libya. Barack Obama is talking about Hakeem Jeffries. Remember this?
I'm trying to figure out what leverage we actually have. What leverage do we have? They control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. It's their government. What leverage do we have?
Remember this? He was the one, he's part of Democrat leadership. Hakeem Jeffries was the one that came forward and said, I don't know what do you want us to do? We're not in power. We don't have any leverage, that type of thing, right? Then you also have Chuck Schumer in the Senate, and Chuck Schumer decided to go along with Donald Trump's big bill. Remember, this was a whole big thing, and people were very angry, and they said primary Chuck Schumer, that type of thing. Now, Barack Obama is coming out of the dark to basically make people think, here I come to save the day, as if he's a real hero, to tell the Democrat leadership, look, you guys need to toughen up, when Barack Obama knows damn well how this game is played. He knows who's really running the show. The presidents of the United States aren't even at the top of the pyramid. Eric and I used to show this pyramid chart on the show multiple times. I might have to start bringing that chart back out, because I see people really starting to think that politicians are at the top and they run the show. They really don't. They're in the middle of that pyramid. So he knows what's happening. He knows what's going on, but he is there for theater. He's there to come out and let me come out from Martha's Vineyard and go help these Democrats again. Now, every time you see the Democratic Party may be struggling, or there's a race that is very tight between a Democrat politician and a Republican politician, they always bring in, here come Obama, to try to help. Now, I remember he did this in Virginia during the Virginia governor race, and he came to speak to people in Virginia. He was supposed to help the Democrat candidate there, but even after Barack Obama's speech, that Democrat candidate lost. And that's how Youngkin got in. He came out to help Kamala Harris, blamed black men for not really giving support to Kamala, and Kamala lost. And I've been saying this for quite some time. I don't think Barack Obama has that mojo that he used to have anymore. But he's out here, and he's here to let everybody know, here I come. Let me come out here to save the day. Let me lecture the Democrats. Check out this panel here on CNN as they discuss this. Check this out.
Former President Barack Obama has a blunt message for his fellow Democrats. Quote, just toughen up. Stepping out for his first fundraising appearance since the Democrats' 2024 election loss, the former president had some tough love as his party continues to struggle to counter President Trump's agenda. He told donors this over the weekend, quote, I think it's going to require a little bit less navel gazing and a little less whining and being in fetal positions, Obama said, according to excerpts of his remarks exclusively obtained by CNN. And it's going to require Democrats to just toughen up. CNN's chief political analyst, former senior advisor to President Obama, David Axelrod, joins us now. Ax, always great to see you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Good to see you.
What do you make of the former president doing this in this way and doing it now?
Well, it's telling that he did it at a fundraiser for the Democratic National Committee that was set up to support candidates, particularly the two gubernatorial candidates in New Jersey and Virginia, Mikey Sherrill and Spamberger in Virginia. And so, I mean, if you read through all of it, I think part of what he's saying is the way that the way you resist is by electing people who are going to pursue a different policy. And, so toughen up and, stop navel gazing and so on means focus on the task at hand. And he talked very specifically about that. The thing I found most interesting about it, Casey, was there were a couple of lines in there. He said, "Stop looking for the quick fix. Stop looking for the messiah. You have great candidates running races right now. Support these candidates." And there's been a lot of discussion about why isn't he out more. I think his view, and I've had these discussions with him in the past, is that there are always new leaders. You need to lift up these new leaders, and these new leaders have to lead. And it is not appropriate or wise to look back and say, "Well, you come back and do it again," or "You be the," and that in a sense that was to me an explanation for why he's picked his shots and why he's been a little circumspect and not out there constantly, because he believes that there are voices within the Democratic Party who can step up and lead at this point and into the future.
But not the people that you would want to lead. Like Barack Obama is on record wanting to support people or advocate for people like Abigail Spanberger, who's former CIA, by the way. Former CIA. Governor Wes Moore, who he actually wanted to run on the presidential ticket again, not Kamala. He did not want Kamala Harris. Gretchen Whitmer. It's not people who have a plan and a passion to help and benefit people who are working class. And I also want to add working poor. I got to add the working poor part because I feel like that group in particular oftentimes is not talked about. People who are working two jobs just to pay rent and they don't have anything left over for savings, or they can barely pay for their light bill, but at the same time they don't fall under the poverty line, far enough that they're able to get assistance. That group right there, that little group, which I've been a part of, that's a tough place to be because you don't get like Section 8 housing. You don't get food stamps because you make a little too much for that, but you don't make enough to be able to really take care of yourself, to not run into an issue, especially if you get an unexpected expense. Those are the politicians that Barack Obama is advocating for, those who are corporate, those who are status quo, those who are establishment. Anytime you see a former presidential candidate helping fundraise for a candidate that is former CIA, I think the game is fixed. I think what's really happening. That tells you what it's really all about. So when Barack Obama says they need to allow new leaders to come forward, he's not talking about people that support policies that benefit the working class. And this is very important for people to understand because he ran on a lot of those issues. Raise your hand if you remember when Barack Obama ran for president in 2008. I definitely do. I was very excited. And when he won, I mean, I was getting all teary eyed and shit. I was all like, oh my God, oh my God. That didn't last long. That oh my gosh feeling did not last long. But he's not talking about Zoran Mandami. He's not talking about AOC. He's not talking about Democratic Socialists or those policies, period. He is talking about a younger face that is going to continue the same status quo and also the MIC. That's who he's talking about. This really has to be pushed forward, you guys. You really have to explain this to your friends and your family members as well. I want people to understand Barack Obama is very smart. Do not think that he's dumb. Don't say he's stupid. Don't say he's fool. He knows exactly what he's doing. He went to Harvard Law School. He's not dumb. He comes out to say these things to give you the impression, okay, oh, see, even Barack Obama wants something different, something new. You hear that, Democratic Party? You hear that, DNC? But it's not the new that a lot of us want. It's not the new that's actually going to benefit the working class. It's just a new face that's going to continue the same amount of imperialism, capitalism, corporatism, and greed. That's what Barack Obama wants. Let's continue on a little bit more here.
Well, David, it's interesting you picked up on that, because that also really stuck out to me, especially the use of the word Messiah. I mean, because Obama himself, right, was often treated like that, right, in the Democratic Party. And we've increasingly seen that our politics are driven by singular figures more than they're driven by a party, or, people don't trust the parties as much, right? Obama had a hold over the Democratic Party in a way. He was able to bring voters in to the Democratic Party in a way that others have simply not been able to. Is there a world where, it's kind of easy for him to say that?
Well, I think that's a fair commentary, but I think it's also instructive to look back at that race in 2008, because one of the great appeals of Barack Obama was that he was willing to be flinty-eyed about criticizing the politics of Washington writ large, and he didn't excuse Democrats from that. And I think we're in a similar period now when what people are looking for are leaders who are willing to square up with the not just the failures of Donald Trump, which are very well known and current, but also the things that led people to Donald Trump. The fact that so many working people voted for him, including Black and Hispanic voters, and they're looking for someone to say, how do we build something better? How do we build something that's actually more responsive to the needs of working people? How do we build something that is resistant to the influence of the money and special interests and, yes, identity politics, and build something around the things that we all share, the concerns for our families and how we make a living and how our kids are going to do better than we do. I think that's what people are looking for. But
So that question has been answered multiple times. The way that you do that is, number one, you don't take corporate money. Number two, you should be leading. If Barack Obama was serious about helping working class people in this country, he would be leading some type of push or movement to end corporate money in electoral politics. See, this is how you can tell if people are serious about helping you or not, because you ask them just this simple question: would you support eliminating corporate money in electoral politics? Don't even just say big money, okay? Because you can get corporate money that's not big, So don't even say that. Just ask that simple question. Ask a politician, ask one of your representatives. If you ever get to go to one of their town halls or whatever, ask them, would you support removing and ending corporate money in electoral politics? That right there lets you know if they're serious about accomplishing something for working class people. Because the reason why these things don't happen is because these politicians, they answer to their donors when they're supposed to answer to us, when we're the ones that vote for the politicians. But at the end of the day, once they're in, they are beholden to those big money interest donors. And that's how we get down this road. So that's how you know he's not serious.
I mean, I get your criticism, and I think what he's saying is don't do that. I think what he's saying is look to the leaders you have and support them and lift them up, and leadership will come.
David Urban, what say you?
Who am I to question the wise acts? Right? I would say this. What I think is very instructive is who he is holding up and who he's not mentioning, right? So he's holding up Spanberger. He's holding up Cheryl, two pretty moderate Democrats, blue dogs almost, Democrats. But yet we didn't hear any mention of Mr. Mondani, who's really kind of captured the Democratic Party like Obama did before 2008, right? So I think that is very instructive.
Well, New York Mayor.
What did I tell you? What I tell you? So that's the thing. Spanberger, he says moderate, but he doesn't mention she was former CIA. That's important for people to know. This is someone that potentially could, and I say the CIA thing because where does she stand on privacy? Where does she stand on, our right to privacy? How does she feel about deplatforming, censorship, those types of things? All those questions should be asked, but the fact that he's at a fundraiser for her, she's already corporate and corrupt because she's getting corporate money. I would like to one day see all these corporate money that's going to electoral politics. I would like to see a lot of that money go into the community. Ask people this, all these rich people that are putting thousands and hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars towards political campaigns. Why aren't they putting that money into impoverished communities? Because they don't really want to do anything for you. They don't really want to fix things or improve things for the working class. If they did, they would just use their own money to put it directly into your neighborhood. That's how you know. But do you see what I was saying? He doesn't want that kind of new.
May not be the same as
no, but still, but if you look at who was fired up the base the most, right? I think at this point, I may be wrong, but those are Mamdani, right?
Those are the most critical elections right now, the statewide, and Abby and Mikey are dynamic leaders.
I'll also say, from having read that speech that he gave, he was pretty scoldy. He is very scoldy these days, and he talked a lot about how people are not stepping up and doing their part, and how people have been folding and not really standing up tall. And I just don't think that goes down very well anymore. We saw that in the run-up to the election, where he was sort of telling Black men that they needed, in solidarity, to vote for a Black woman. And I think that kind of scoldy Obama really doesn't play to the Democratic base anymore.
Axe, can I get you to weigh in on that?
Yeah, people were not too happy about that.
Yeah, look, I mean, I half agree that I applaud those people, those law firms who have the courage to stand up, universities that are standing up to protect academic freedom. I also am aware that there are responsibilities to the institutions that people are leading that cause those to be difficult questions. So it's not as easy as one might say. That said, there may have been people in that room last night who were there to support the Democratic Party, but had questions about whether they wanted to stick their own neck out if they were part of a big law firm and so on. And for them, maybe the message was appropriate.
So you heard what he said there, part of a big law firm. So again, politicians are not heroes. Those are not the real heroes. And I think one of the mistakes that people have made, and I like I said, I saw people online trying to do with Obama. Obama's coming back. He's here to save the day. We miss him so much. Yay, Obama's back. Woo, he's going to fix everything. Politicians are not heroes. The majority of them belong to donors, military industrial complex, and Wall Street. The majority. Very few that are grassroots. So there's that. And then two, what does it say about the Democratic Party that Barack Obama they always have to rely on him to try to come in and fix things? Barack Obama is not going to live forever. You look at the polling right now, the polling is abysmal for the Democratic Party. The polling's not good for Trump either. The polling is not good for Donald Trump, but the polling is also not good for the Democratic Party. Democratic Party, last poll I saw, they had a 26% approval rating. That's terrible. They're not even in power. That's terrible. So this idea, I think people need to understand that Barack Obama is the person that they bring in to make you think that you're going to get the change that you want, but instead what you get is the same old, but with a different face. Barack Obama is the person that is brought in by the establishment, by the billionaire class, to crush any type of progress and real movements away from the status quo. And they use someone like him because they're like, oh, well, he's a Black guy. He went to Harvard, etc. So they see those types of things. And people looked at Obama when he ran in 08, just like I did. And people were like, whoa, a Black person can actually be president. Yeah, it was a lot of that going on back then. And we totally overlooked all the other things. the problematic things with Barack Obama that we just didn't see or just didn't pay attention to at that point in time. So no, he's not a hero. Real heroes aren't brought in to mislead the public into believing that they are there to push for the change that you want, in particular for people who are working class, but they're actually there to trick you and to crush what you got going on. And they're just going to give you status quo under a different face. That's who Barack Obama is. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.